The midday sun scorches the rugged hills of Samaria, casting long, wavering shadows across the parched earth. Dust rises in thick clouds from the path as Jesus sits quietly by the ancient stones of Jacob's well. His disciples have gone into the city, leaving him alone in the oppressive silence. The air is heavy, vibrating with intense heat. From the distance, a lone woman approaches. She walks with her head bowed low, clutching an empty clay jar as if it were a shield. She has chosen this grueling hour, the hottest part of the day, specifically to avoid the judgmental eyes of her village. She seeks water, but her soul carries a far heavier burden than the jar. Jesus looks up as she nears. He does not turn away or hide his face as others might. Instead, he speaks first, his voice cutting through the dry air. "Give me a drink," he says simply. The woman stops dead in her tracks, her fingers gripping the clay jar tightly until her knuckles turn white. She looks at him with a mixture of shock and defiance. "You are a Jew," she says, her voice trembling slightly, "and I am a Samaritan woman. Why do you, a prestigious teacher, ask me for a drink?" There is a long silence between them, a gap of centuries of hatred and tradition. Jesus leans forward, his eyes steady and filled with an inexplicable peace. "If you only knew the gift of God," Jesus replies softly, "and who it is that asks you for a drink, you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water." The woman frowns, glancing down into the deep dark shadows of the well. "Sir," she says, gesturing to the void, "the well is incredibly deep and you have no bucket. Where then do you get this living water? Are you greater than our father Jacob who gave us this well?" Jesus stands slowly, his presence filling the space. "Everyone who drinks this water will be thirsty again. But the water I give becomes a spring within, welling up to eternal life." She stares at him, the wall of her confusion beginning to crumble. The conversation shifts as Jesus speaks of her life, her past, and the hidden burdens she thought were hers alone to carry. He speaks with a clarity that strips away her defenses. He does not shout. He does not judge. He simply reveals the truth of her heart. The woman is frozen. The clay jar slips from her hands and clatters against the stone floor. "Forgotten. I see that you are a prophet," she whispers, her voice thick with emotion. She asks of worship and the coming Messiah. Jesus reaches out, his gaze locking onto hers. "The time has come," he says. "True worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and in truth." Then, the words that change everything. "I, the one speaking to you, I am he." The weight of her shame vanishes in an instant, replaced by a fire she has never felt. She turns and runs, leaving her jar behind at the well. Her feet kick up dust as she races toward the village gates. "Come," she shouts to everyone she meets. "See a man who told me everything I ever did. Could this be the Messiah?" The villagers look at her transformed face and follow her back to the well. As they gather around Jesus, the camera pans out over the desert landscape. From the base of the stone well, a miraculous stream of clear water breaks through the dry earth. It flows outward, carving new paths through the dust and turning the wasteland into a vibrant green garden. The message spreads across the hills, and the long thirst of the world finally begins to fade.